Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this Recruiting Interns Workshop for small businesses and startups. We know that as a small business or a startup, you wear many hats, mostly, everything, so including HR. So we're really excited to be here today to share with you how you can set up internships easily, some of the best practices that you can implement, and also connect you to the right resources at UC Riverside to get you started. So before we get started though, we would like to know who's here. So if you could take a minute or so to type your name and the company that you're with in the chat, we would love to know who we're talking to. You guys can continue to introduce yourselves, but you will be hearing from some amazing women here who are fantastic resources to start internships for your companies. So I'll let them introduce themselves, and starting with Michelle Gomez.
All right, hello everyone. It's wonderful to be here. I'm honored to be part of this presentation. My name is Michelle Gomez. I'm the Associate Director for Employer Relations as part of the UCR Career Center. So we're kind of the centralized career center that supports all of the colleges and schools across campus, both undergraduate and graduate level. So just really grateful to be here, and I'll pass it over to Jeanette.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Jennifer. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeanette Ordonez. I am the director of A. Gary Anderson Graduate School of Management for the School of Business. We are a decentralized career center. We specifically work with our School of Business graduate students. We collaborate a lot with Michelle and her office, the main career center, but I'm so happy to see everyone here. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to hopefully meeting some of you soon. I'll go back to Jennifer.
Great. Vanessa, are you able to join us? Great.
I'm here.
Oh, great.
I made it.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Hi, everyone. I'm Vanessa Lee. I am the career specialist for graduate students at the Career Center. I work at the same office as Michelle. So I don't work as much with employers, but what I do is I work directly with students. I do a lot of one-on-one work as well as outreach and workshop with, especially right now with our graduate student population, and be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Great, and I'm Jennifer Turalde. I'm the Programs and Outreach Specialist for the Office of Technology Partnerships, and I also manage the Excite Incubator in downtown Riverside.
So we're going to start off, and just wanted to give you a quick overview of what to expect during our time together. So really, today's presentation is going to just give you a quick snapshot about UCR for those of you that maybe have not worked as closely with UC Riverside in the past, some of our distinctions, a little bit about our student body and programs. We're going to spend a bulk of our time talking about internships and looking at kind of industry standards, Department of Labor standards, so that you're really clear about what is actually included in an internship. We'll talk a little bit about academic internships and what are those requirements for those that are interested, as well as some of the services that our different offices provide. So that's a little bit of where we're headed today. So just to kind of set the stage for today's presentation, I wanted to give you a little bit of a snapshot of the relevancy of this conversation. So right now, Handshake is the main platform that our Career Center uses for all of its job postings. So based on Handshake data from July 2020 to now, we've had about 563 employers from the Inland Empire posting internships, almost 1,300 internships, which is about 14% of our overall postings. So I would say that's pretty good. Obviously, we would love to see more local representation, and we'll talk a little bit in a moment about the importance of the local hiring for our students. And you'll also see we had about over 25,000 internship applications. So students are definitely wanting those experiences. They're very interested. There's a lot of activity. on Handshake around that, as well as 69% of those were paid. So also just to give a little context. And then the next slide here talks about, just to give you a snapshot of the data about where do they go after they graduate. And I thought this would be interesting for those of you that were looking at building an internship program so you could create a pipeline for them to work in your organizations after they graduate. You'll see about a third of our students end up staying locally. This is based on the class of 2020 data. About a third of them go into LA, Orange County, and then another third are either out of state or in other parts of California, and a small sliver internationally. So I would say our students are actually pretty open, but it's great to see about a third of them that want to stay locally. So just to give you a quick snapshot for those who are new to UCR, you know, we feel really proud of a lot of these distinctions. You know, if we had more time together, I'd love to hear, you know, what made you interested. Many of you are probably alumni of the institution, but we are ranked #1 in social mobility. There's a lot of intention around creating access and helping our students to be successful when they leave here. We have high rankings for diversity, as you can see, as well as, you know, both our business and engineering has received pretty high rankings, and is, you know, many people from around the country and organizations that want to recruit with us because of some of these distinctions. So I will go ahead and move on. So yeah, wanting to give you just a quick preview of some of the different schools and colleges that we have, and we're going to make these slides available to all of you. There's a lot of content on here. Don't expect you to read or memorize, but actually, if you could go back, Jennifer, just one more slide. But we do have overall 7 colleges and schools. You'll see of the 3 that you see here, we have College of Engineering, Bourne's College of Engineering, about 2,800 students, variety of majors, undergraduate and graduate. We are the 6th top in computer science institution in the world. There's a lot of companies that come to us for some of those skills, as well as other developing programs such as data science and so on. We have College of Natural and Agricultural Sciences is a very large college. There's about 17 different majors within, about 6,000 students. It is, you know, we are a research institution, so many of these students do pursue research careers, but we also know a lot of them are interested in getting real world experience prior to that. So definitely there's a strong agricultural industries that come and recruit here. So if that's in your corner, we'd love to chat with you. School of Business, AACSB accreditation. We have one of the largest undergrad business programs in the whole UC system. And again, there's top rankings as well related to our School of Business. Jeanette will speak more on our graduate business students here in a moment. So we'll go ahead and go to the next slide. CHAS is what you'll hear. We'll try not to use too many acronyms, but College of Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences. They're our largest college, 60 plus majors, but again, a lot of liberal arts students, you know, students who are, have a lot of great and transferable skills that are ready and willing to learn and grow. And so we have one of the best colleges in the US for psychology, as well as creative writing is also a popular program. If those of you looking for teachers, we have a small but mighty graduate school of education, and they also have received high rankings. We have organizations that recruit from them all over the country, and they also have an undergraduate major that also is a great pipeline for those that are interested in that field and want to pursue their credential afterwards or master's. School of Public Policy and School of Medicine, again, also more of a niche, schools that we do support, and also have received a lot of high rankings. So for time, I'm going to actually move us along. So yeah, I just wanted to give you a quick glimpse of the Career Center. The purpose of this slide is really just to share our model. So as I mentioned, I oversee our employer relations team. So there are 3 industry outreach specialists. We have one for STEM, Abby, who is here in this workshop as well. Kai Buckner, she supports our business and operations. And we also have another outreach specialist that supports our government, education, nonprofit, and the arts. And we also have an events manager. And then Vanessa, who you met earlier, she is part of our student and college engagement team, and all of them are aligned with the colleges. So we have a specialist model that is designed to really provide a lot of targeted recruitment to help you kind of connect with those populations you're most interested in. And Vanessa specifically supports our graduate students. So we're grateful to have her on board as well. And then this slide is just a brief slide to share a little bit of some of the engagement of what we see with students and employers. We'll talk a little bit later about the types of services we had, but just wanted you to have a glimpse of the activity and the type of engagement that we have. So I'm going to pass it along to Jeanette.
Thank you, Michelle. So like I mentioned before, I do represent AGSM, the School of Business for graduate students. Our team is not as large as the main Career Center, but the main Career Center definitely supports us with employer relations and recruitment. So as a director, we are hiring for 2 associate directors coming soon. Hopefully we'll have those filled. But we also have 2 career coaches that support our students, which is Mark and Rudy. We support over 500 students in different programs. Our programs include our MBA, Masters of Professional Accountancy, and Masters of Finance. We have over 150 students each year seeking internship opportunities. We are a STEM certified degree program, so we do have that certification for those companies that are seeking that type of talent. For our students that are in our accounting program, through the program, they are becoming CPA eligible as well, if that is one of the qualities that you're seeking. We have very ambitious and talented individuals. Many of our MBA students have a technical background. Some of our students are career changers. They were professionals in different fields, decided to go into very specific programs because they're passionate about new interests. We have mixed experience. So we have those that have a lot of work experience to those that might not have a lot of work experience, but want to become experts. So as you're considering our students, please know that we will have opportunities for you to look and seek for our students for talent, because some of our students would be interested based off of their experience. And just keeping in mind that our students are always looking for new opportunities. So I look forward to hopefully talking to some of you soon. And also later on, I will be describing our services.
Sorry, I have to find the unmute button. So we have a poll in progress. Maybe if we could have you, I'm gonna do a poll true and false for 3 of our questions. The first one is an internship is like a part-time job. And then second one, if you can, choose whether true or false. Okay, I see. Okay, great. Let's see some of these. Awesome. All right. I'm gonna have 30 more seconds. I do also want to apologize. I don't know why my street all of a sudden today they are doing construction, so it's pretty loud. I heard from your end, you probably don't hear as much, but let me know if it gets too loud. All right. Okay, so maybe we'll just end the poll right now, Jennifer, if you don't mind. Right. So, okay, let's talk about some of these internship myths. So a lot of times, you know, we have students and sometimes employers too feeling like, oh, internship is just like a part-time job. I would say there are different kinds of internship we'll get into, but most of the time internships will be considered more of a learning opportunity. And a lot of students actually really just want hands-on experience. So you could still have a lot of great candidates seeking internship, especially if they can register for credit, which we will get into in a little bit as well. Students don't necessarily just want to work for big name companies. I think with education, a lot of students really understand that with a smaller company, they really get a lot of times way better experiences because they get to touch on many different parts of the operation and projects. And the last one, because we do have a big part of international students population, graduate and some undergrad, they are seeking internships. And it is really not expensive to hire international students if the only fee is the if the internship is paid. And we will again get into some of that information as well. Right. Jennifer, I'm gonna have you do, yes. So this is what we want to share about internship is that we, from NACE, our National Association of College Employers, so the overall arching professional association that kind of, I wouldn't say govern, but kind of help the industry standard between employers that want to recruit at universities and the career center at the university. We come together and create a lot of industry standard and good practices. And this is a definition that they would NACE define an internship. And an internship is a form of experiential learning that integrates knowledge and theory learned in the classroom with practical application and skills development in a professional setting. Internships give students the opportunity to gain value, apply experience, and make connections in a professional field, in professional fields they are considering for career paths, and give employers the opportunity to guide and value talent. So they also have a few checklists that they would like employers consider when designing an internship. So think about it as a way that students can apply what they learn in the classroom, right? So it's not, again, going back to the learning component. So it's not necessarily just strictly helping your companies to gain value, but also the students can use things that they learn and then apply it to the real world setting. And these could be also transferable. The knowledge and skills that they learn, it doesn't necessarily only apply to this one position. And technically, it should have a beginning and end date, especially if they are credit bearing. And then the internship should really have an objective and goals related to the academic coursework if they are tied to credits. They really need to have a supervisor that on your staff to help guide them and provide support. And that comes with giving student feedback so that they are learning. So again, that central theme of learning, continuous learning. And then like to have resources, basically you want to set this person up for success. So you need to provide the resources needed for the student or the intern to be successful. This is me too? Yes, okay.
Nope, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, is this me? Is it? I just want to make sure.
Actually, I'll go ahead and jump in. Thank you, Vanessa. Perfect. Yeah, so I think that what you're seeing here, some of the themes that Vanessa, shared, again, it's really the difference between the part-time job and the internship is an internship is really about the student learning first. And then, definitely we know that internships can definitely be an asset and add a lot of value to your company. But really they should be designed with the student learning in mind. So we definitely just want to make sure that we emphasize that. and that it is related to the things that they're learning in the classroom. So there's different types of internships. The first one we wanted to talk about was academic internships. And so for those of you that I'll just put out there that are looking at doing unpaid internships, I would say you really should consider offering them for academic credit. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment for different reasons. But just a little bit about academic internships. You want to have learning goals in mind. This isn't just free labor, you know, that you're getting them to get you coffee and file. I don't know how many people are filing papers anymore, but, you know, that there is actual, the bulk of their tasks that they're doing is related to their coursework. It's not just administrative aspects. There will always be those aspects of their role, but they should be very small percentage. So there should be structured learning outcomes that you can mutually agree upon as the supervisor and the student. And again, it should align with an academic schedule or the quarter system at the UCs. So it's important to kind of know when those start and end times are. And there's usually a minimum number of hours and maximum number of hours related to that. So Jeanette can share more on that a little bit later. There needs to be faculty and staff support. And so there usually is a faculty coordinator who is in charge of the class, a faculty and internship coordinator. And so they're available to you for consultation, troubleshooting. If you're having issues with performance or any of those kinds of things, a faculty member can definitely be available to you as their supervisor. And then there's intentional kind of feedback that is required. You know, and again, each department might have slightly different ways of doing that, but that would be part of the process. There would be, you know, in order for the student to kind of complete that academic credit, they would need to be able to have some of that written or formal feedback from their supervisor. And then again, student engagement, you know, I would say that's another benefit of an academic internship is that students getting credit for this. They're getting a grade. So there a little bit extra effort involved, especially if you're not able to offer pay. They are incentivized because they're getting academic credit to continue to show up, to continue to deliver good work. And then students who engage in professional development and reflection, they're able to implement that learning in the workplace as well. So that a lot of that is built into the course for students. So those are some of the benefits of reasons why you might want to consider an academic internship. And actually, Vanessa, I am going to have you jump in here. You want to talk about the project base, that would be great.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So project-based internship, that is a little bit different from the academic internship, is not all the time they may be qualified for academic credit. Project-based internship could be, I think some of you may have heard about this term called the micro internship. I'm sorry, my dog is trying to squeeze me out of the seat. It could be like a short project, like a few days, or it could range to even a few months, or it could be a lot longer than that. So I think really based on your company's need or your organization's need, and then depending on what that could be qualified for academic internship, that if that's the case, you know, please consult with us, and we will point you to the right person to talk with about that. And like I said, you know, we're here to support you. But these are really cool internship opportunities for students, the project-based one, because you really need to get to utilize specific skills of these students. For example, if you want somebody to do just an app development, you don't know how long it's going to take, and then you know this, you know, you are seeking specific skill sets from student, and you will probably get that type of skill sets to do that for you. for that particular project. So it's very targeted. And then students can really use that opportunity to say, hey, you know, I get to use my skill to work on a real world project. And they are very happy about that. I think it's a really nice win-win situation.
Perfect. Thank you, Vanessa. So there's a lot of data on this slide. I'm not going to recap everything, but again, this will be great for you to review after. I know there's a lot of questions that came in through the registration about, you know, paid versus unpaid considerations. So just some things to note. So regardless of pay, internships, really that the value of them at the end of the day, if they're helping a student to confirm or reject their career interests, they're setting or attaining career goals, they have quality supervision, they provide access and networking, all of them have value. As long as those things are happening. So to go back to those poll questions, you know, the question was, I can't, you know, I won't be able to, or internships that do not have pay are not as valuable. I would say that's not true. However, I do want you to just make note of some reasons why you might want to consider pay. We shared earlier some of the stats about our student body, and a lot of them are first gen. They're coming from backgrounds that maybe don't have as much privilege, and you know, they may not be able to forego a paycheck. So, you know, for some of them, you know, just being able to increase that access and make available to our students, you're going to see quite a few students that, you know, may not be interested or would pass. And you saw about 69% of the internships that were posted on Handshake were paid. So there would be quite a bit of competition. So you might want to, if, you know, even if that's not an option, maybe you can think creatively about other benefits that your organization could provide. You know, that would also help students who might be in need. But paid internships would allow for a higher quality candidate pool. And, you know, there is correlation between students being more successful post-graduation when they do engage in paid internships. So, however, if your organization is only able to offer unpaid, again, we would recommend considering academic credit. For a variety of reasons, it creates that structure. There is that connection with the university, just in case things are not going well with your intern, you have that counsel with a dedicated faculty advisor. Also, risk and liability, just wanting to bring up, companies assume the liability for interns working on their premises, whether paid or unpaid. But in terms of just overall having that structure and connection to the university, academic internships can definitely provide that for your organization. So, and then you'll see on the right-hand side, based on the most available data that we have right now, I know there's a lot happened between 2019, 2021, but these are just some average wages to consider. Obviously, it's a little skewed because you know, engineering and computer science and STEM fields tend to kind of, you know, have higher wages, whereas our education, HR, agricultural, and some of our other fields have lower wages, but that's just to give you an average. And then obviously our graduate level interns would have a higher average as well. For remote versus in-person, you know, these are considerations. I know a lot of organizations are trying to figure out, you know, can we do this remotely? Maybe some of your organizations don't have that option. The work that you have is in person. So these are just some advantages and disadvantages to consider for a remote internship. Advantages, obviously, you're able to create a safe space. There's cost savings involved. Students are learning different skills working remotely, new ways to work, time management. There's more flexible work schedules and so on. Some disadvantages, you know, is students do kind of lose a little bit of that connection to the organizational culture It's less ability to kind of have spontaneous connections, informal networking. There can be some communication issues, delays in technology. So again, just things to consider when you're crafting your internship and what kind of experience and what's most valuable to you. And then I'm not going to go and talk through this slide too much. This is more just to keep in mind, you know, with Gen Z, the things that they care about. When you're crafting your internship, keep them in mind. They want different things than, you know, the millennials did. And so, you know, these are just kind of a quick list of some things that you might want to think about. One thing I'll just point out is that location is important to them. So I would say for those of you, because you're local, a lot of students want local, but maybe don't feel like they have those opportunities. So they are forced to think, you know, look elsewhere. So leverage that in your internship, the opportunity for them to stay local. And so with that, I will pass it along to Jeanette.
Thank you, Michelle. Some additional things to consider. So Michelle dived into more of the general, but this is more specific for the university and also the School of Business. So if you are going to be recruiting for our course credit for our graduate students do not need to take it for course credit, your internship program. However, if they decide to, these are just some of the requirements. No more than 20% of the intern students should be clerical. Once again, we want them to gain some valuable experience, be able to apply what they're looking for, or I'm sorry, what they're gaining specifically in the program, in the internship. Minimum is 120 hours. It could exceed that, but minimum is 120 hours. And then minimum is 5 weeks. It could obviously exceed more than 5 weeks, but the minimum that the internship could be is 5 weeks. And employers must provide a job offer letter. So it's very important that in the job offer letter, you inform us of the different duties briefly that the student's having, specifically how long is the internship and the hours that they're going to be in the internship for. Now, specifically when you're hiring international students, I know Vanessa's poll specifically mentioned this, but you don't need to sponsor them. So just keep in mind that they do have work authorization that they're able to apply. However, they will need to take a course that would be attached to that. So then they're able to use their CPT. That's what their work authorization is called. So you don't have to utilize any other expenses to hire an international student for your internship. Just know that they do have work authorization to be able to participate in the program, but they will have to align it to an intern, to a course, I'm sorry. Also, the timeline, just be very considerate of it. Internships vary depending on the type of internship, the type of program that you are creating, but usually what's recommended is a 10 to 12 week. That's usually like 3 months. Just think about it in quarters. So for example, in the fall, if you're going to recruit someone for the fall, we start in October to December, or you would say January to March, or you could say March to June, or June to August or September, right? So those are different ways to kind of look at it, think about it in quarters. Also, when we think about hours and weeks and how that correlates, the best recommended for our students during the academic year is 20 hours. We also want them to succeed academically. So we want to make sure that they're doing an internship no more than 20 hours. However, if it's during the summer or during the winter break, 40 hours is appropriate. So 20 plus hours is what we would recommend as something that's a little bit more lenient than the academic year. Okay, so just next steps. I think that's you, Michelle.
Nope, you can keep going.
Okay, sorry, it looked a little bit different, sorry. So just next steps as you're creating your internship is that you definitely want to reflect and do some research. Specifically think about what is the need in your organization. What projects do you need to be completed? What tasks will the students be working for? Think about specifically what would be the end result if the student goes through your internship. You know, through the process, what would they be completing? What skills and knowledge will the student be gaining? And will you allow the student to gain through the projects that you're providing? What is the capacity? So what is your budget? What is your time that you could provide the student if you're supervising the student? Which internship descriptions align with your needs? So this is where the research comes into play. So look at different internship job descriptions. Look at specifically the tasks that they have and how do they align to the work that you need support with and the support that you can provide the student as well. And then also one of the biggest things is it is a learning experience. So who is going to supervise the student? Because it's not like a part-time job that they do the work, you make sure it's done right, or you give them feedback. It's really just walking them through the process. Now, the next portion of it is you need to think about recruitment. Now that you figured out the need, you figured out what you want to do, you have to think about the recruitment timeline. Which quarter are you recruiting for? Is it going to be in the fall? Is it going to be in the winter? Is it going to be in the spring quarter or in the summer? And then also you need to consider like how much time it takes to recruit a student. So if you're, let's just say you're recruiting for the summer, during this time, it's still a little bit cutting it late, but you're still able to recruit those students for the summer depending on your timeline. But you need to consider reaching out to us, conducting an information session, or just, you know, if you decide not to do an information session, to post it on our Handshake, on our own portal, how long it takes for students to apply, 2 weeks or more. Right, so those are things to consider as you're looking at the timeline. Think about the whole process, like I mentioned, application, marketing, and then also you're going to conduct interviews to select the best candidate as well. So that takes time to coordinate as well. Then you want to make sure that you're creating, well, sorry, I got confused because of the thing, but research and reflect, create a job description, think about the recruitment timeline, and then at that point, recruitment. So once again, where do you want to promote the internship? Who can provide support? Career Center, AGSM Career Development Center, Office of Technology. So just know that you have your different resources here that can support you through that process. Okay, so some things to consider is the interview process, what that's going to look like. Are you going to have support from us to support you with that? Are you going to be doing it online, in person, depending on the situation? You're going to look at the onboarding. So think about what that looks like. You providing the job offer letter for the students, support students with creating goals, like we mentioned, especially if it is correlated with their courses. And it's very important for you to inform students about expectations. What does that look like when they start their internship program until what they end? Also, as a supervisor, it's very important that you consider your time commitment, your policies, when the student can check in with you, how often they're going to check in with you. Also, delivering and receiving feedback. How often are you going to provide that for the students? The tasks that you will have them do, the management that you're going to be doing as a supervisor. And then it's very important that at the end of the internship, you do an evaluation. You provide the students constructive feedback, but the students are also able to provide feedback to you and your program. So as they're exiting, I highly suggest, if you can, ask them questions. What aspects of the internships have been particularly impactful for your professional development through the internship program? What is one project you're proud of doing during your time here? How was it challenging to you? How has it helped you grow? These are things that could help you really understand how effective was your internship and how you can modify and make changes. So think about the whole process in the bigger aspect. And if you need support with that, we could definitely provide counsel for that.
All right. Thank you, Jeanette. So we have just a couple more slides and we will be moving into Q&A. So please keep those questions coming through the chat. We will have time for that. But as you can see, we're representing actually 3 different departments on campus that have resources to support you. So these are just some examples of ways that each of our departments can support. We understand each of your needs might be different, and there might be pluses and minuses to working with certain departments. So we encourage you to utilize all of our resources, and just wanted to outline those for you. So this is just a brief snapshot of some of the Career Center services that we have available to you. These are our no cost options. So many of you are already familiar with Handshake, again, as we've already mentioned before, this is our central job postings platform. I know that Jeanette uses it with her students, and we use it broadly across the campus. So in terms of broad outreach with thousands of students that are job and internship seeking, this is a great place to put your information and your opportunities. We also have services that, as I mentioned before, we have industry outreach specialists that can help you develop kind of a targeted approach to engage students in different ways. So Kai Buckner, Kai, do you mind just unmuting yourself and say hello?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kai Buckner, and as Michelle shared, I work in the Career Center at UCR. I am part of the Employer Relations team, and I am the Industry Outreach Specialist for Business and Operations. It's nice to see everyone today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kai. And then Abby, do you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Sorry, my internet's not working, so I'm joining from my phone.
Great.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Abby Sachdevan. I am the STEM Industry Outreach Specialist with the UCR Career Center, and I work on the Employer Relations team as well. And I work with all employers hiring for STEM positions. And I'm very excited to be here today, and nice to meet you all.
Thank you, Abby. So when you work with us, you will get to work with either Kai, Abby, or myself. We're hiring for a couple additional roles, and we will be able to provide you kind of a targeted recruitment strategy to be able to figure out how to engage beyond handshake. So you can set up virtual interviews, information sessions, office hours, engage social media. If you're a nonprofit, we have a program where you can offer opportunities as work study, and it's a federally funded program. And then those that have costs, if you want to go to the next slide, if you're interested in, we have a variety of career fairs that we do. We do targeted email blasts where we can promote your opportunities to target groups. Information sessions and coffee chats are just a few of the ways that you can engage with students that do have a fee. But again, our industry outreach specialists would be happy to meet with you to discuss kind of the best approach that works for you, your budget, time, and capacity. And I'll pass it over to Jeanette.
Thank you, Michelle. So at the CDC, we do not charge for our employer services. So very similar to Michelle's services, we do provide targeted email blasts to our graduate students. We provide the opportunity to virtually do information sessions at the moment, virtual coffee chats, coordinate virtual interviews if you want to do that. We have the opportunity for you to post on our AGSM job board. So you're more than welcome to also post on Handshake, but then specifically if you're targeting our graduate students, we highly suggest you also ask us to post on our job board that's exclusive to our graduate students to see. We are also able to collect resumes on your behalf and send them your way. We also do the social media branding and promotion. So if that's something you would like to do, you can do a takeover and inform our students of the different opportunities at your organization. Also, we can invite you to quarterly networking events so you can meet our students. So every quarter we have networking events where you can meet with our students, discuss opportunities at your organization, and also discuss your organization with the students. We can also do a recruitment plan. So let's just say that you have an internship plan and you want to recruit them in the fall, you want to recruit them in the spring. So we could accommodate that and make sure that in the summer we're promoting it, in the winter we're promoting it. So we're creating that recruitment plan for you in addition to other services that we mentioned above. And then also for our nonprofits, we do have an AGSM MBA fellowship program, which means that you apply for this program. We're able to place a student for 8 weeks in your organization to do work. This is a way for us to give back to the community. And also we do provide a stipend of $1,000 to our students for supporting your organization with the work that you have available for them. So just keep that in mind, and I will be the one that will be supporting you through the whole process. And once I have my associate directors, they will also support you as well. So for now, I am the main point of contact for the Graduate School of Business.
And then with the Office of Technology Partnerships, we have a lot of resources for small businesses and startups. I wanted, May, if you can unmute yourself and talk about Connector real quick.
Yes, definitely. So Connector is one of the platforms that we recently started to use to empower the startup and entrepreneurial community at UCR. It's a platform for UCR students to be able to interact with startup founders from UCR as well. So if you are a startup founder with a smaller startup and you would like to interact with students with similar mindset, Connector is a great platform for that. It enables you to directly reach out to those students and post job opportunities, internships, and now also that there's other campuses around us from our region in that platform, you'll also be able to post those jobs for students from other universities other than UCR. For now, as it's just for our smaller community, you'll need to have a UCR email to set up at Connector. But if you reach out to me, and I will put my email in the chat, I'm happy to set up an account for you to be able to use it and answer any questions about the platform as well.
Can you also mention about Launchpad at UCR?
Definitely. So the Connector is one of the things that the Launchpad at UCR offers for students, and it's a program that supports student entrepreneurs. So we offer students under the Office of Technology Partnership and entry level into entrepreneurship. We offer a lot of workshops and similar to our quarterly startup bootcamp where we introduce students to entrepreneurial topics. And then we do have so many other programs that also through their entrepreneurial journey. And we try to also encourage students from non-STEM fields through our social innovation path program to be able to pursue entrepreneurship. And we get them ready to then qualify for so many other programs that the Office of Technology Partnership offers. So when they graduate from Launchpad and all of our programs, including mentorship, initial amount of fundings, then they are qualified for other programs that Jennifer will mention, so that it's a roadmap and a full path that students can start and from idea to commercialization.
Great. And May is our campus director for that Launchpad at UCR, and she's been doing such an amazing job reaching out to our students. We also provide other entrepreneurial training, including the Innovar program, which provides customer discovery. We also have our EPIC Small Business Development Center. So companies that are needing mentorship, access to capital, workshops and training programs, we have we have resources for you in all of those things. We also have a SBIR resource center. So if you need help with creating proposals for the SBIR or STTR funding, we are able to help you with that. We also provide incubation. So we have two incubators right now. One is the Excite Riverside Incubator in downtown Riverside, and that is open to tech companies and startups. And we help you grow and launch your company and scale your company at there. And then we also have the Life Sciences Incubator, which is managed by Dr. David Pearson. If you want to take a quick moment to talk about that real quick.
Sure thing, Jennifer. We have just an amazing opportunity to have the first wet lab incubator in the Inland Empire. In fact, several of the companies that are doing research are in on this call right now because they're looking for interns to come in and do research work with them. This is a place that has space at the moment with COVID restrictions for 6 companies. We have 5 in at the moment. And we hope to expand to about 12 companies by the end of the year when we hope that we get back to normal. So if you'd like any information, contact myself or Jennifer or May, and we'll be happy to tell you what's going on in the Life Sciences Incubator, whether it be human healthcare, ag tech, or even chemistry. We've got all kinds of different projects underway.
Great. And then our office also supports IP management and protection as well as corporate partnerships. And so if you have interest in any of those things, feel free to reach out to me. So with that, we'll wrap up so that you guys have a chance to ask your questions and get some answers on those questions.
There's actually a question in chat we didn't get to answer. It's about who to reach out to business student. So.
Thank you, Vanessa. Yeah, so again, I think with that, you have a couple different options. So if you're looking for undergraduate business students, Kai Buckner, who introduced herself earlier, has a lot of relationships with the School of Business, works closely with our business career specialists to provide kind of targeted programming and communication channels. So she would be a great resource to you. And actually the next slide, I don't know, Jennifer, maybe you can keep that up on the screen, has contact information for all three of our offices. So I would say if you emailed career recruiting, if you can go to the next slide, Jennifer, then that should get all of our team and someone from our office, whoever is assigned to that industry, would be the one responding to you and be able to have a consultation with you. So, and then Jeanette would also be able to support in the graduate business students. So again, depending on kind of what your target groups are, you could work with both of us or either or. Feel free to put your questions in the chat or unmute yourself, either or.
So there's another question. Are there any labor laws we need to be aware of when taking an unpaid internship? So there definitely is. We cannot provide legal counsel. That's why we highly suggest as a best practice to just be aware that if you are offering an unpaid internship that is related to getting course credit, just to make sure it's aligned specifically with the educational background of the student, and the student is earning that credit, even though the internship is not a paid opportunity. It's a way for them to have it aligned with the internship during the course. So Michelle, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I just put in the chat a link to from the U.S. Department of Labor that outlines kind of best practices, especially for kind of unpaid internships. So earlier in our presentation deck, if you remember, Vanessa talked about the different components of an internship, and pretty much it outlines what you'll see here. But I would say this could be a guide for you in terms of the components you want to make sure are included to not risk, put your organization at risk. But yeah, to echo what Jeanette said as well.
Mm-hmm. Right, and I think, one thing to kind of consider is that if you are, for example, if you're looking for let's just use accounting, it's pretty straightforward. If you're looking for accounting intern and you're offering unpaid internship, their work really should be related to accounting. Like it should not be dealing with receiving shipping for your office.
Also, just to add to that, an internship's not supposed to replace a full-time position or a position at your organization. It's a learning experience. So continue to keep that in mind. That's one of the biggest things in the law when it comes to the labor and the internships, is just making sure that it's not replacing a position that you would be hiring for. It's literally an opportunity for a student to gain experience and learning, particular skill set, but also supporting your organization. So it's a win-win, but it is a learning experience that is an internship.
And the next question is, are there restrictions on how many hours a week an undergrad science student or graduate engineering student is free to spend working or interning? Yes.
Yes, go ahead, Vanessa, if you want to answer that.
Yeah, I think during the quarter should be no more than 20 hours a week. So during our academic year, should be about 20 hours or less, 20 hours maximum. And then for summer, it can go up to 40 hours full time.
And is that the same for both undergraduate and graduate students?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and with graduate student, there may be some other additional restriction just because of, you know, their campus commitment. But I would say in general, and that for internship is no more than 20 hours during academic quarter, and summer or any breaks, 40 hours.
Do we have to get the explicit permission of the graduate student's advisor for them to take a job?
Oh, it really depends. That's a great question. I think that really depends. If they are requiring to take credits, for example, let's say a PhD student, then they usually should talk to their faculty advisor, just because you know the amount of work they're doing. Some faculty advisors really do not let their students do that. But I would say I always advise students talk to their faculty first, and then kind of see whether their package, their financial package or their commitment would allow that or not. So I would say that will probably be on the student's part. They need to check. And then next question is, what is the process for academic credit? Do you connect us with faculty?
I'll jump in there real quick. So technically what I would say, if you are wanting to offer academic credit, include that in your job description, you know, that you are open to offering academic credit. So some students have required internships and some do not. So I would put it on the student to choose whether or not they would like to take it for academic credit. If it's, because sometimes that means then if it's not required, then they're having to actually pay out of pocket for that internship course, which they may or may not want. So I think that's a conversation with the student. And then we have steps that the student will need to initiate the process. They have to fill out a form that then needs to get approval by their department to even be able to qualify for academic internship, which would involve a signature by their supervisor as well. So you would be involved in the process, but you wouldn't necessarily be the one initiating the academic credit process. If that makes, I don't know if Jeanette or Vanessa wants to jump in.
May I just jump in that for the academic internship, I think for employers, the only more laborious work is really making sure your job description, your internship objective is fitting to their learning goal. So like I said, using the accounting example is that if you have an accounting internship, you have to just make sure that the students will be working, I would say majority, you know, using Jeanette's office, 20% can be clerical, the rest have to be doing their work. Your majority of the work should be really relating to their field of study. Let's say if you're recruiting a computer engineering students, then most of them should be really about, if it's software development, should be really about software development or coding one way or another in that field. And I think the biggest, I think the more tedious part from the employer is really with the job description and posting them. And then once you post the job, it's on students to secure their credit based on their major, based on talking to their academic advisor, going through this process, and then their supervisor just need to sign. So technically, you don't have to connect with faculty. Students have to do that themselves. If it's required, or if it's not required, they need to find a faculty advisor. So that's very complicated in terms of, because each department has their own way of operating, especially for graduate students. But I would say for employers should not be too much work on that part. It's more of the front end. Anybody wants to add anything?
Yeah, I'll just add that if you have any questions about course credit for our graduate students, I'm more than welcome to meet with you and kind of see what is your need and how we can support you. It might be something simple that I could explain one-on-one. So that's why we highly suggest that if you have more questions, reach out to us. We're here to provide you resources and support. And And you have my contact. I did put it in the chat, and then also just we have the generic one, the AJSM, it goes directly to me as well. So highly suggest that if you have more questions, we're here to we provide support, and please reach out.
With that, I do want to be mindful of time. So I do want to officially end this workshop, but if others have questions and want to stick around, I know I'm available to answer any other questions, but I do want to give people the opportunity to move on, and we will be, again, sharing this recording as well as the slides with you after this workshop. So thank you everyone so much for being here today.